Good morning. Welcome to another edition of Beyond the Pulpit. As I was thinking this morning, actually yesterday we had our festival at church, our holiday festival celebrating the harvest time here in the area, and we had over 700 people here, but that means that Halloween is soon to come. So Halloween is actually Friday, this coming Friday, so the holiday season is amongst us. And as we think about that, I just wanted to think a little bit of the future as well. We're going to be having several times we can talk about the holidays, and we're going to try to bring in the Advent and a lot of those things beyond the pulpit. So right now, I wanted to fill in for the next few weeks with Jesus' miracles. And I'd like to start with the very first one, as it was the wedding feast in Cana. And I'm reading out the NLT version this morning. You can find this if you want to read along in John 2, 1 through 11. He said, the next day there was a wedding celebration in the village of Cana in Galilee. Jesus' mother was there, and Jesus and his disciples were also invited to the celebration. The wine supply ran out during the festivities, so Jesus' mother told him, they have no more wine. Dear woman, he said, that's not our problem. Jesus replied, my time has not yet come. And when he's talking about that, he's saying, my time on the cross has not come yet. But his mother told the disciples, do whatever he tells you, or the servants. I'm not the disciples. She told the servants. Standing nearby were 6 stone water jars used for the ceremonial washing. Each could hold 20 to 30 gallons. Jesus told the servants, fill the jars with water. When the jars had been filled, he said, now dip some out and take it to the master of ceremonies. So the servants followed the instructions. When the master of ceremony tasted the water that was now wine, not knowing where it had come from, he called the bridegroom over. He says, a host always serves the best wine first. Then he said, when everyone has had a lot to drink, he brings out the less expensive wine, but you have kept the best until now. Of course, this is a miraculous sign at Cana in Galilee. It was the first time Jesus revealed his glory, and his disciples believed in him. So we have the setting. It's set in 2 John 1 through 11. Jesus and his mother and his disciples were invited to a wedding feast in Cana of Galilee. Now, a wedding in the Jewish culture is huge. Week-long celebrations and running out of wine would have been a public embarrassment for the family. But there's a little lesson we can learn about this as well. Jesus chooses to begin his ministry not in the temple, but at a wedding feast. He shows us that God cares about our daily lives, our homes, and our joys. Then Mary notices a situation. There's a shortage. They have no wine. She brings the need to Jesus, and of course his response was, my hour has not yet come, pointing to his greater mission of the cross. Yet Mary instructs the servants anyway. She says, whatever he says to do, you do it. Well, when we face problems, the best place to go is to Jesus. And like the servants, our job is simple. We just need to be obedient to his word. Then the miracle came. Jesus had them to fill water pots. 6 stone water pots were used for ceremonial washing, were filled with water. They say they hold 20 to 30 gallons, I believe. Jesus turned the water into wine. Not just wine, the best wine. The master of feast was amazed, and he said, most people serve the good wine first, but you have kept the good wine until now. Well, the lesson here is Jesus transforms the ordinary water into something extraordinary, the best wine available. He doesn't just meet the need, he exceeds with excellence. Then there were the results. The result was the beginning of his miracles. It revealed his glory, and his disciples believed in him even more after this miracle happened. The ultimate purpose of miracles is not just to solve problems, but to reveal who Jesus is and to strengthen our faith. And how can we apply this to our lives today? Well, Jesus cares about our everyday needs. No problem is too small. Bring your burdens to him. Mary went to Jesus first. We need to obey his word. Blessings always follows obedience. Blessings always follows obedience. Remember that. Jesus transforms lives. Just as he turned water into wine, he can change our hearts, our marriages, and our futures. And faith grows when we see his glory. When we see things happening in our own lives and we get things turned around, we can see how his glory is brought forth. His miracles point to us to trust him more deeply and try to follow him more closely. There's a closing thought this morning. Jesus' first miracle reminds us that he came not just to patch up the old, but to bring something new and better. Just as the wine was the best way that had been best that ever had tasted, life in Christ is far better than anything this world can offer. This week, bring your needs to Jesus. Obey his voice and trust him to transform your situation for his glory. I hope you enjoyed this first miracle of Jesus'. We're going to go on and pick a couple more out. There was something like 37, I believe, so we'll no way get to cover them all in the next few weeks. But we'll be pulling some out and studying them very hard. Each one of these has an application for our life, or it wouldn't have not been put in the Bible for sure. And John even said this, that there was many more that was not documented, that we have no idea what they were. Hope you have a great day. Always, we love you here at Bloomingdale, and we want to see you soon in one of our services. Have a great day.